Hey guys, Sean T. Phillips here with that brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday Shambho today. Taking a go out today, see what things came out, see what things are on sale. I know today some of the big releases that come out is A Star is Born. And I know there's a number of different retail exclusives of that one. I believe Target has like an exclusive slipcover of that. And I don't know if Walmart has an exclusive. I know Best Buy has a Steelbook release of that. Some of the other ones that come out today is Robin Hood. And Best Buy has an exclusive Steelbook of that, as well as the film Overlord that releases. I don't know if there's any exclusives of that one. Also though, at the end of this video is going to be a whole bunch of brand new DVD and Blu-ray reviews for some things I received to review and talk about for you guys. Some really cool stuff. Some new titles from Arrow Video, as well as some Scream Factory and Shout Factory titles, as well as Ralph Breaks the Internet. I have a review of the Blu-ray of that, as well as the new Blu-ray release of The Little Mermaid. I also have a really cool set that I got from Turbine Media, which is all the Psycho films together in this huge collection. I'm going to have like a big unboxing of that as well, showing like a detailed look at that. That's a really cool set. Also gonna have a whole bunch of other DVD and Blu-ray reviews as well at the end of this video. And as always too, in the comments below, let me know, what you guys thought of the DVDs and Blu-rays I reviewed. If you guys have seen any of those ones, if you guys are planning on picking any of those ones up. But anyway though, guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. And I'm going now to this one Target that I haven't been to in like a month or so, because this one never really has the new releases out. Sometimes even if I come later in the day, they're still not out. And sometimes I go like a day or two later and still like most of them aren't even put out. So it's a real fingers crossed situation that, the stuff is out in here to see. We shall see though. Well, I do see a standee out here for A Star is Born. It says on here, exclusive bonus feature, exclusive packaging and bonus features. So yeah, it was a slipcover of this one. That's what I thought. It has a different slipcover, different image of Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga on this one. This is the standard slipcover. I think I like this one a little better, and the way this one looks and everything. And it also has on here exclusive bonus feature. I don't know what the exclusive feature is on this one, and I also don't know if it's one where it's on an actual disc or it's only on the it's like a digital download or not. If you guys pick this version up, let me know though how this feature is. Let's see if on the back though it shows anything different. Yeah, see the back of the slipcover is exactly the same, so it doesn't say what the exclusive is. So like I said, I do not know for sure what that one is. They also have the soundtrack here as well that has an exclusive poster inside for this one. That one's $13.99, and then it's 20. So it looks like it's a little bit more for the exclusive. It looks like it's $26.99 for the exclusive edition, and then $24.99 for the standard edition Blu-ray one. They also have some kind of thing down here with like popcorn. I don't know if it's like a deal or something on that. I always like coming to this location at Target better, even though they don't put the stuff out all the time, because this one doesn't blast the music. That's half the reason why I come to this one, so it's easier to film and show things. Other than that in here though, it looks like they have things out today, which is good. They have this one here, and I'm going to talk about this one at the end of this video, called Backtrace. And here this starring Sylvester Stallone and Matthew Modine. This one only released on DVD. This one I definitely want to check out for sure. This Melissa McCarthy film, Can You Ever Forgive Me? This one actually looked really interesting. This was another one today. This film, Sergeant Will Gardner. This one's a good price, only $10 for the Blu-ray of that. And then they have the the DVD and the Blu-ray, and then the 4K here of Robin Hood, and that one's $24.99 for the 4K Robin Hood. Yeah, but it looks like if you guys want the exclusive slipcover, they only have the exclusive for the Blu-ray. It doesn't look like they have an exclusive slipcover on the 4K edition of that. Other than that, see if there's anything else different around the side here. I don't know if this is new. I don't know. I think that might have been out a while. This might be, I think this was a recent release, this Family Guy Greatest Hits. Let's see anything else interesting down here that looks like it's new. Yeah, I don't see, it doesn't look like there's anything else new in here as far as I can tell though, but at least, like I said, they had all the stuff out in here today. Into Walmart we go. And I realized though in Target there was one thing that wasn't out on the shelf that I didn't see, and that was Overlord. That was one of the other, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, one of the big releases, but I didn't see that one on the shelf though. So we'll take a look and see what's in here. And for their Star is Born, yeah, this thing fell down here for it, but for their Star is Born, it doesn't look like there's anything exclusive that, like they're advertising, watch it digitally. But I don't know if this is a different cover on the DVD than the DVD was at Target. This might be a different one. I believe this release today is as well, Doctor Who Resolution, which I think is like one episode of the newest Doctor Who series. Other than that, in here though, they have the Sergeant Will Gardner one here as well as Robin Hood. Robin Hood here is it looks like it's $19.99. Now, I don't know if that's in the wrong spot or not, but maybe it's actually cheaper in here for their 4K. Maybe it's $19.99, and then the standard one is $17.96. So I'm pretty sure this one was $24.99 over at Target. And then they have Overlord in here, and the Overlord has a different cover than the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray is $22.99, and then it's $27.96 for the 4K. Other than that, though, they have Backtrace here as well, and this one called the Brawler. I don't know much about this one at all. I don't know if this is, I don't know what this one is at all. If you guys have seen this one, let me know how this one was, but that one is $12.96. And they have Can You Forgive Me, or Can You Ever Forgive Me as well, for $14.96. And this movie here starring Donnie Yen, the Iceman. Over here, though, I believe some of these ones might be newer. These gift set things here, like these ones, I don't think I've ever seen. These Walmart exclusives here for the WWE, like Ultimate Warrior, Randy Savage, and Sting one that come with these little mini Funko Pop keychains in here. These are actually really cool. These ones are $12.96 each. And I think this is another one. Some of these ones are new as well. These Survivor Series ones that have a little Funko Pop keychain, pocket pop keychain of The Rock, as well as John Cena. And also, though, over here they have the these are some of the exclusive ones. I think Shark Tale might be an exclusive for Walmart only, but I know for certain, though, Over the Hedge is. I got this one like 2 weeks back or so, and I totally forgot this one came out. But yes, if you guys are interested, these ones are exclusive. At least, like I said, I know for sure this one is on Blu-ray of Over the Hedge. And I always liked this movie. I remember seeing this one in theaters when this first came out. Just like a fun, kind of silly movie. But other than that, though, that's all the new things I'm seeing in here today. You know, there's enough room on that GD door, Rose. And this past weekend, I saw a couple of different films. The first one I saw was Alita Battle Angle, which is directed by Robert Rodriguez and produced and written by James Cameron. And Rosa Salazar is the star of the film as Alita. And then Christoph Waltz is also the star of the film as well. Essentially, though, it's about Christoph Waltz's character, who is like, this is all set in the future. I think it's like 500 years in the future. I think that's what it is, and I think you're pretty sure it's about 500 years in the future. And essentially, his character, everybody is like since it's in the future, if people are injured and things like that, they have like these advanced robotic arms and things like that. There's also all these cyborgs that are like superhumans that are like as intelligent as humans, and some of them you can hardly even tell. And essentially, though, he like helps them and repairs them and fixes them and things like that. And he goes to the scrap yards looking for parts and things like that. And he ends up finding the head of Alita, like part of the torso and her head. And he discovers that her brain is still intact. And it's essentially about him putting her back together with this other body and bringing her back. And it's about her kind of like, sort of like not remembering her past at all, and him trying to help her remember it, and then sort of discovering things about herself, and she meets this guy and everything. And it's like all this interesting stuff going on. I know there's some comparisons, like people have seen the trailer to like Ghost in the Shell, because both of those were, based on animes. I have to say, though, this one was so much better than Ghost in the Shell. I thought Ghost in the Shell was okay. This one, though, 100 times better to me. I thought it was definitely 100% worth watching. The battle scenes in this movie were really, really good. The whole way it was all put together. Robert Rodriguez did a really, really good job on the movie. Definitely one, though, I would highly recommend you guys check out. The other one I saw was the film starring Rebel Wilson, which is called Isn't It Romantic? Essentially, it's about her character. She ends up, hitting her head. This guy tries to mug her, and she hits her head on the subway, in the subway on this beam, and ends up waking up in the hospital. And she wakes up and basically gets trapped in a romantic movie. And she hates romantic films, and she's always talking about how she doesn't believe it's like that, and she doesn't really believe in love because she never really has great luck or anything like that. But of course, she bumps her head and wakes up in this romantic world. It's just like a romantic movie, and she's sort of trying to figure out what's happening because New York is all super different looking. Her apartment's different. Everything is different, and she's essentially trying to figure out what she has to do to get out of this romantic world and back to her regular reality. And I don't know, I just thought it was kind of a fun movie. Nothing absolutely amazing. It's from the director who did the film The Final Girls, which I actually liked that movie. That was actually a pretty cool horror movie about characters who end up inside of a horror movie. and figuring out how they're going to survive it. The other one that I saw was Happy Death Day to You, which is the sequel to Happy Death Day. And I really loved the first Happy Death Day, which was, you know, about this girl who was stuck reliving the same exact day every day until she had to figure out who it was that was killing her, because she was getting killed every single day in the film. This one, though, is the sequel, and it's essentially, though, I don't want to say too much about it, but it's basically her character, you know, what ends up happening. But, you know, like I said, I don't want to ruin too much, because, like, the trailer, though, too, if you've not seen this one, don't watch the trailer for Happy Death Day to You, though, because it totally, like, spoils certain things. But essentially, though, she's dealing with the same situation again, only it's, like, totally has aspects of, like, they compare it to, like, Back to the Future 2 a little bit. It's going on, and it's sort of like an alternate version of what she was dealing with before, and, like, it deals more with, like, this scientific aspect of things. I honestly really liked it. A lot of people, though, are, like, saying how it wasn't as much of a horror movie as the first one. The first one, though, I thought was more of, like, a horror comedy. This one has, like, a, you know, it's the same kind of, it has a little bit of horror to it, but more, like, science fiction kind of stuff like that, mixed with, like I said, the Back to the Future 2 kind of aspect to it. I actually really liked it. I thought, though, the main actress, Jessica Roth, did a really good job in this movie as well. I like the new characters that they added into it and the whole thing. Like I said, I don't want to ruin too much, because you ruined the first movie. And like I said, too, if you guys have not seen the first movie and you've not seen this new trailer for the sequel, don't watch it, because it tells you something I can't believe they said. I feel like in that trailer they cut, they should have said spoiler alert and then give away the killer, because they do that in the trailer for the new movie. But if you guys have seen either of those ones, let me know in the comments below, you know, of those films, what you guys thought of them, or what films you got to see this past weekend if you saw anything.
Into Best Buy we go. Yeah, and in here, though, on the front, though, they have the exclusive steelbook here for Robin Hood. And this one's a 4K Ultra HD steelbook for that one. That one's $29.99 for that one. And then they have the Blu-ray of that one for $19.99. Yeah, it doesn't seem like I said, there was any exclusive editions here of Overlord. Their 4K is $29.99 for that, and $22.99 for the standard Blu-ray of that. Let's see, though, on the other side, if there's anything else in here. Yeah, the Star is Born, though, like I mentioned, they have the exclusive steelbook of this one. This is actually a really cool image, though, on this steelbook. This one here is $34.99, and this one is a 4K Ultra HD steelbook of that one. Other than that, over here, they have Iceman The Time Traveler here as well, but I don't see anything else in here different in this part. Let's go over to the section, though, and see. Also, I should mention, though, I did watch this. I'm going to be reviewing this one next week. I didn't get to get this in this video. This is amazing. This is from the director of The Greasy Strangler, but I absolutely love this. And also, he has a show right now, too, on Adult Swim called, like, Tropical Cops. I think it's Trop Cops or Tropical Cops, which is, like, so twisted. Probably the most twisted thing I've ever seen on TV, and especially on Adult Swim. But I love this movie. Like I said, I'm going to talk about this next week. Over here, though, I see something different that I think might have come out today, called Bayou Caviar. Am I saying that right? Yeah, I don't know what this is. A movie that it has, like, Cuba Gooding Jr. and Richard Dreyfuss. I don't know anything about this one. If you guys have seen this movie, let me know. They do have Backtrace here, and that one's $16.96 for that one. And then other than that, though, I'm trying to see if there's anything else. They do have Can You Ever Forgive Me here. That one's $14.99 here. Like I said, this one only got a DVD release, no Blu-ray release of that one. And they also over here, though, they have a standee here for A Star Is Born. And they actually do have, when it comes to the steelbook, I didn't realize they actually have a Blu-ray steelbook of that one as well. So that one's $29.99 for the Blu-ray edition of that one. So there's a Blu-ray as well as a 4K Ultra HD Steelbook for that release.
So anyway, though, guys, that's all for my DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Like I always say, if you guys enjoy these shopping videos, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Leave me comments below this video letting me know, what you guys picked up today, if you guys picked up anything on DVD or Blu-ray. Like I always say, too, also let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of all the DVDs and Blu-rays that are reviewed at the end of this video. Like I said, if you guys have seen them, what you guys have thought of them. But anyway, though, guys, thanks Thanks again for watching and subscribing. Now stay tuned for the reviews. And the first ones I got here from Arrow Video. Just so you guys know that these ones are available. This one's going to be releasing on March 5th. And this is the Sister Street Fighter collection, which includes all 4 films in the Sister Street Fighter series. These films came directly after the Street Fighter series. So I believe there is 3 films in that series. This one has on here, of course, the original uncompressed Japanese mono, as well as a whole bunch of different features. It also has a really, really cool slipcover on this one. But on here, feature-wise, though, this includes a new optional English subtitle translation on all 4 films. It includes the original English language R-rated version of Sister Street Fighter, new video interviews with Sonny Chiba, the director as well as screenwriter, isolated score highlights on the first 3 films, original Japanese theatrical trailers for all 4 films, original US theatrical trailer for Sister Street Fighter, the German theatrical trailer for Sister Street Fighter, as well as the German opening title to the film, still and poster gallery, and has reversible sleeve featuring newly commissioned artwork by key art by R.P. Kung Fu Bob O'Brien. So I'll show you guys the reversible artwork on this one. Really cool image under here. This is the reversible image on this release. And in here, though, like I said, it's a 2-disc set and includes all 4 films. Now the first disc includes Sister Street Fighter as well as the bonus features, and then the Disc 2 has Sister Street Fighter hanging on by a thread, a return of the Sister Street Fighter, and Sister Street Fighter, a 5th level fist. And in here as well, it has a booklet which has, some facts about the movie and all that kind of stuff in here, stills and all that kind of stuff. So a really, really cool release here for sure if you guys are a fan of the Sister Street Fighter series. Like I said, just want you guys know that this one was available. And the next one I got here is from Arrow Video as well. This is from the Arrow Academy line. This is releasing March 5th as well. It's a movie here called The Prisoner, and really, really love the artwork on this one. But this one here, feature-wise though, it has a brand new video appreciation of the film by author and academic Neil Sinyard, as well as a select scene commentary by author and film critic Philip Kemp. It also has reversible artwork as well, which I believe is the original poster artwork on this one for the release. But like I said, really, really cool cover on this one. Also in here, though, it has a booklet with some facts about the film, about the production, some stills from the movie, and all that kind of stuff in this one. Like I said, this is from the Arrow Academy line, coming out on March 5th. And the next one here from Arrow Academy as well. This one is releasing March 12th. And this is a noir film called The Phantom Lady. This has on here, though, a dark and deadly 50 years of film noir, an insightful archival documentary featuring contributions by Robert Weiss, Edward Dominic, Dennis Hopper, as well as a bunch of other people as well. It also has a rare hour-long 1944 radio dramatization of Phantom Lady by Lux Radio Theater, which has Alan Curtis and Ella Raines, and it also has a gallery of original stills and promotional material. This one also has reversible artwork on this one as well. In here, it has a booklet with some stills from the movie and facts and stuff like that about the release and everything. So really, really cool ones. Like I said, just want you guys to know that these ones are available from Arrow Video. Now, the next ones I got here are from Shot Factory, Screen Factory line. It's a movie here called The Mole People, and this is a movie that was also on Mystery Science Theater 3000, one of the films that they watch on the show, and actually includes in here that full episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000 as well. So really cool they included that on this release. Essentially, though, this is about these archaeologists who are in Asia looking for artifacts and things like that from the past, and they're also trying to look for this kind of lost city that they believe could be there. And there ends up being this avalanche, and this kid ends up finding this, kind of an object from the past, and then they bring it to them, and they're like, "Well, where did you find this?" And he says, the kid tells them where it was. It's about them going on this expedition to try and get to that area to see if they can find any more things there or anything. And there's this great use of stock footage. It was obviously not the actors, at least for most of it, and it was real far back, and it was just stock footage of them climbing this mountain and going across this little bridge and all this kind of stuff. And it's just it's really, really, goofy kind of stuff of them, getting there. Footage really definitely, at least most of it wasn't them. And Also, too, one of the guys is wearing a hat like this, and I'm thinking, like, I think this is set in, like, the 40s or 50s, and I feel like I never really saw somebody wearing, like, a hat like that. At least not much, at least a movie like this. But essentially, though, you know, they're going on this expedition to try and get to this area, and it's got kind of like a Lost City of Atlantis kind of a vibe, because they go into this, you know, into, like, the deep into the mountain and go in, like, kind of like going down underground, and they come across this city, you know, and it's like this city of all these people there and everything. But of course, though, there's these creatures there in the city, which are the mole people, and they see these super cheesy creatures and stuff like that that are coming after people. It's a really fun, ridiculous movie. It's one of those things you could definitely see how this is one of those movies, you know, that Mystery Science Theater, you know, included in the episode was one of the things that they watch, because Mystery Science Theater, they always would watch cheesy, like, ridiculous kind of movies and stuff like that. This has on here, though, a new commentary track on here with film historians and author Tom Weaver and David Spector, as like I said, as well as the Mystery Science Theater full episode, the Mole People theatrical trail, and a still gallery on this one. Also looks really good on Blu-ray. The next one here is a movie starring Bela Lugosi, and this is The Return of the Vampire. This is basically, though, it starts off with Dracula, and his henchman in this is the Wolfman, and it's like, he's kind of like who does his bidding and everything. And in the beginning of this movie, though, Dracula ends up getting, he's in his coffin and stuff. He ends up getting staked and, believed to be dead. And then it takes place years later, too. There's also this great sequence of, like, the Wolfman turning back into human and stuff like that after, the vampire is killed in the beginning of this movie. And it's like the way they did it, they were like, they kind of like, I think they did it like in reverse or something. They were like, or like the way they were putting the makeup on. So they put like a little bit of hair, then a little bit more and a little bit more. I don't know, it was just a great, like, way they did this. But essentially, though, this is, like, set years later, and it's set during the time of the war in the 40s, or no, I think it's the war with basically with the Nazis dropped this bomb. So I think it's like 40 something, early 40s, and they end up dropping this bomb, and it basically ends up bringing Dracula back to life. And essentially, though, it's about him coming back and like going after the people in the nearby town and the people who are in the castle where he used to live and everything. It's just a really fun vampire movie. Always loved Bela Lugosi. Every time I think of Bela Lugosi as well, I always think of Ed Wood, because Ed Wood worked with Bela Lugosi in the later years of his life. And like Ed Wood's such a great movie, but the stuff that he did with him too, he did a couple different movies with him. And this has on here though a new commentary track on here with author and film historian Lee Gabin, as well as a commentary track on here with film historian Gary Don Rhodes, commentary with film historian Troy Howroth. So 3 different commentaries on here, theatrical trail and a still gallery. This one looks really good on Blu-ray as well. Great transfers on both of these ones. This is another fun release here from Scream Factory. This is called The Vengeance of She. This is a sequel. I didn't see the first film. The first film was called She, and it was, I believe it was a Hammer horror film as well. This is a Hammer film as well. This is essentially, though, about this woman who is kind of like getting called to this area. It's like to this. It basically starts with her like on this boat to this island, and she ends up like kind of hearing voices and having like visions and having like dreams and things like that about like this kind of ancient like civilization kind of like from the past. And it's like she keeps on hearing these things and seeing things, like I said, in her dreams and everything, and she ends up kind of wandering her way onto this boat. And it's basically like the people kind of find out about what's happening to her and stuff, and they want to get her to this island and see what's there. And it's essentially, though, when she gets to this island, it's like, what she's seeing is actually, something is on this island. It's essentially, though, about like the people on this island have like a plan for her and like why she has to get there and everything. It's actually a really fun, Hammer horror movie. Like I said, I have never seen the original movie, but I thought this one was actually really cool. This has on here, though, a brand new 2K scan from the original film elements. Really great transfer on this. It has a new interviews on here with the assistant director of this one, as well as the visual effects artist on here. New commentary track on here at the Monster Party podcasts on this one. It has World of Hammer horror episode Land Before Time, which was like the World of Hammer was like a series that was on like talking all about Hammer horror films and that kind of stuff from years back. It has on here a theatrical trailer, TV spots, and a still gallery on this one. And the next one here is from Shout Factory's Shout Select line. This is a movie that's directed by Ian Softly, who directed Hackers as well, which Shout Factory released as well a couple of years back. loved hackers, and this is a movie called Backbeat, which stars Cheryl Lee from Twin Peaks and Stephen Dorff. And this is essentially though about the early, very beginning of the Beatles, and it's about like John Lennon and his character and his friend, who's played by Stephen Dorff. I think his name. I can't remember what the name here. Stuart Sutcliffe, who was the original bass player in the very beginning of the Beatles. He was only there for like 1 year, and it was about when they went to Germany right in the beginning, and they were performing at these kind of like burlesque kind of clubs, and it was like, and the music they were doing was very different. It was like they didn't kind of have their signature look with their hairstyles or anything, their haircuts, and like the kind of music they were making was really different. It was much more like kind of punk. I don't know if punk really existed then, but much more like kind of crazy, kind of rock, very different than the music that they were known for. And it was basically though about the original, like I said, bass player who kind of like didn't really know if this was what he wanted to do, and he didn't know if he really wanted to be in this band, and he really was more into painting and doing art and everything. And he ends up, it's essentially about how he meets like Cheryl Lee's character, who is like this kind of producer, works with this producer who kind of comes with the Beatles and sort of helping them along. And essentially though, it's like their kind of relationship, and there's like a strain between Stephen Dorff and John Lennon's character, because they were like good friends and everything. Is actually a very interesting thing. I had never seen this movie before, and an interesting like story just to show like the really early, very beginning stages of the Beatles. Has on here though a conversation here with Astrid Kirchner, who is the woman who Cheryl Lee's character plays, and it has a real conversation with her, as well as deleted scenes, an interview on here with Ian Softly, the director and actor Ian Hart. Ian Softly interview for the Sundance Channel. Commentary track on here with Ian Softly, as well as Ian Hart and Stephen Dorff. TV featurette and a casting session feature on this one. Now the next one here is from Lionsgate. It's a movie here that stars Nicolas Cage. And it's called Between Worlds. And I have to say, this is one of those movies that I kept thinking about this movie, and it had some really memorable stuff. I'm going to say one super memorable line in this that I loved. But, this is amazing. But essentially, though, this is about Nicolas Cage, and I'll say the line in a little bit. But basically it's about Nicolas Cage's character, who is this truck driver, and one day he's at this truck stop, and he has to kind of get his the truck to this spot, and he has a certain amount of time to get there and everything. But when he stops, he hears in the bathroom this woman screaming and stuff, and he goes in there, and she's being strangled and choked out by this guy, and he ends up saving her. And then she's like, "What are you doing? Why'd you do that? You ruined everything." And essentially, though, this woman wants to be choked out, because when she chokes out, she can kind of leave her body and kind of go into another world and kind of like talk to somebody like that's like almost like that's to be like kind of almost about to die, and kind of tell them to go back to their body, because essentially her daughter was this woman's daughter was in this accident, and she's like about to die, and she wants to tell the daughter, go back to your body, go back, everything's gonna be okay, you need to go back, you need to, because she got in a coma, you need to go back in there and everything. But essentially though, Nicolas Cage's character kind of meets this woman, and the main actress in here, I looked her up, and she's been in a bunch of stuff, but she was in like Run Lola Run and a couple other things. But he ends up, meeting her, and they kind of have this relationship and stuff, and he's kind of staying around and everything. And the daughter, though, he ends up strangling her out in the beginning of this movie because it didn't work. And the daughter, she coaches the daughter back into the body, and the daughter wakes back up out of the coma and everything and comes back home. But when she comes back, she's like talking and acting really strange, acting kind of like she doesn't know the mother, and she's acting like she knows Nicolas Cage. And there's a whole lot behind it and what's going on and everything. But it was an extremely interesting movie. And definitely, a lot of people talk about how Mandy, was Nicolas Cage going like the craziest he has. He went crazy in Mandy, but he goes really nuts in this, and I loved it. Like, he goes like totally berserk with his character and the way he gets. And there's even a scene in this when it's like, I'm not going to say what the scene is, but he's reading a book that says like Lessons, I think, by Nicolas Cage. And then there's also this scene when he's in his underpants, and that was my favorite thing, because what he says is amazing, because the woman's like, "Why you put your clothes on? It's disgusting." And he's like, I don't know why you'd say that. I know, it was just it was amazing the way he said it, and he had this really sad look on his face. This was great. This was such a fun movie, and it was like gloomy and dismal as well. But like I said, Nicolas Cage was amazing in this movie. I love bonkers Nicolas Cage. I love when he goes totally crazy. And if you like Nicolas Cage going crazy, and when he just has really a lot of fun with a role, like you could tell he was having a great time doing this part, definitely check this one out. And the next one here is from Lionsgate as well, and this is a movie here called Backtrace. I believe I'm saying this right. I kept thinking, is it Backtrack? I'm pretty sure it's Backtrace. Dyslexic sometimes with stuff, but this is a movie that stars Sylvester Stallone and Matthew Modine and Ryan Guzman, and this is essentially though about these guys who are robbing this money. And they end up, they have like all this money, and they just had buried it out in the middle of like nowhere. And Matthew Modine is with them, these two guys, but they end up getting killed in this thing that goes totally wrong. This like everything goes totally wrong. The people kind of like turning on them and everything. And essentially though, something ends up happening, and Matthew Modine's character ends up getting like kind of amnesia, and he gets put into the psych ward, for years. And then it's years later, people who are associated with this and want to try and find this money end up, because he's just in the mental hospital, and he's totally just kind of doesn't remember his past. He doesn't remember anything about the people that were in this robbery and people that got killed or any of it. He's totally like kind of doesn't remember anything whatsoever. He's trying to remember the best he can, but he doesn't remember any of his life at all in the past. But these guys end up coming in there, and they find a way to get him out of, the hospital and break him out. And they kind of are forcing him to try and remember, and like trying to show him things and stuff like that, and saying, you have to find this money, and there's all this money you buried somewhere, and only you know where it is. And they end up kind of using this experimental drug that they have access to, and injecting him with it, and then saying, this is going to make you, little by little, you're going to start to remember, what had happened and where you put this. And that's essentially what it is that him trying to remember, trying to go back with their steps and look back on what they can remember and what he can remember, and try and find this money and where it's buried. And it's Stallone's character, who is this officer who is trying to track the guy down. And also Stallone's character was always kind of bothering Matthew Modine's character, kind of thinking he might have been pretending, and he came by to the hospital many, many times trying to see if he could figure out anything and figure out more about the robbery, and of course he never knew anything, so he's really invested in this case, so he wants to try and figure out what is going on. But actually, a kind of an interesting movie here. This has on here a making of the film, as well as cast and crew interviews, as well as a trailer gallery on this. The next ones here are from Disney, and this is Disney's Ralph Breaks the Internet, which is the second Wreck-It Ralph film. Wreck-It Ralph 2 or Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet is the main title, but this is the sequel to Wreck-It Ralph. And this, it was a really, really, really fun movie. I saw this in theaters as well. I love the first Wreck-It Ralph movie. Always a fan, too, of John C. Reilly, and John C. Reilly plays the voice of Ralph. And essentially, though, this is about, like, the characters who all live in video games in like old-fashioned classic arcade games in this one arcade, and they kind of all are like friends with each other, and like when at the end of the night they kind of travel through the wires of the games, and they all kind of meet in the kind of like the surge protector box, and like kind of have like adventures and like talk to each other and all that kind of stuff. But what ends up happening though is Ralph's friend, who's character who's I think it's Vanellope. I think I was originally saying Penelope, but it's Vanellope, I believe. And it's Sarah Silverman is the voice of, who is in this game that's like a candy racing kind of game. The steering wheel on the game, these teenagers went in there and broke the steering wheel, and the owner of the arcade doesn't want to pay for it because it's too expensive, and he thinks he's just going to retire the game. But they recently just hooked up the internet to this arcade, and they finally have the internet in there. And Ralph finds out about this, and they kind of think, oh, we can order the, on eBay, this steering wheel, and we can save the game, and then, Penelope's game won't be shut off. So essentially, though, they go into the internet, but Ralph ends up overbidding, and like it's all this money, and Ralph, they have to figure out how they're going to raise the money to buy the steering wheel and everything. It's just a really, really fun adventure, and the stuff going into the internet is really, really cool, because there's all kind of like memes and references to the internet and like websites, and you see in the background and stuff all kind of like, all these like images of different websites and stuff. They did a really good job on all that kind of stuff. Like I said, a lot of like internet lingo and jokes and stuff are in here as well. There's also a great scene too with all these princess characters coming together again, and I think like most of them except for like 2 were all the same original voice actresses together. So that was a really, really fun sequences in here. This has on here feature-wise, it has deleted scenes, it has the behind the scenes, discover how they made the internet come alive, as well as Easter eggs and a bunch of other features on this one as well. But if you guys are a fan of the original Wreck-It Ralph, definitely check out the sequel. I think the sequel is almost a little bit more of a fun movie, because like just like I don't know, I like the whole internet thing, and there's a whole bunch more stuff that I feel like happens in this one. I still love the original, the first film as well. Now, the next one here, there's also a 4K release of this one that's going to be coming out as well the same day. These both released next week. Ralph Breaks the Internet as well as Little Mermaid, but there's going to be a 4K release of this one, and this is as well as Ralph Breaks the Internet. But this is the Little Mermaid, the anniversary edition. And this movie, Little Mermaid, is, I think, and let me know in the comments below too. This is one of the first movies I remember seeing in theaters. But in the comments below, let me know what you guys, remember as the very first movie you can remember seeing in theaters. But this is one of my very first memories of a movie I saw in theaters. This one, as well as Dick Tracy and Home Alone. Those are like my first memories of movies in theaters, especially this one and Dick Tracy. But this is, a movie that I've always absolutely loved this movie. It's a great story. It's probably my top favorite Disney film of all time, followed by Pinocchio. Pinocchio is my other favorite one of all time. This is essentially, though, about the character of Ariel, who, ends up meeting this prince, and she wants to go to, Prince Eric, and wants to go to the surface, but, she's a mermaid, and she ends up having a, meeting Ursula, who is the evil, kind of, I guess you would say, like, kind of that octopus monster. I don't know what you would say her character, like the evil witch character in the film, but she puts a curse though on Ariel where she can go to the earth, but she can't talk. So it's kind of her having to fall in love with, have Eric fall in love with her, but she can't talk. It's a really, really good movie. I've watched this movie so many times throughout the years. It's, like I said, one of my favorite childhood movies, my favorite Disney films of all time. It has on here though a bunch of new features on here. It has Alan Menken and the leading ladies. It has iconic leading ladies share their musical memories. It has a sing-along mode on here. It has an inside look at the cast original voiced sessions on this one. Stories from Walt's office, Gidget and Gazmos, as well as a bunch of archival features on this one as well. And it also includes the digital copy of the film as well. The next one here, this is from Turbine Media, and I'm going to show you a closer look. There's some posters in here I'm going to show you guys closer in a minute. But this is a Psycho Legacy, the deluxe collection here. This is, like I said, from Turbine Media, and this is a region-free release, so you guys can watch this one on all, watch this one in the U.S. without any problems. There's no region code locking or anything like that. So if you guys have just a, regular American Blu-ray player, these will play no problem in your player. So there's no region code locking or anything like that on this. But what this is, the Psycho Legacy collection here, is it's all of the Psycho films together in this one really giant cool set. Like I said, I'm going to show you guys inside, but it has in here Psycho 1 uncut, has Psycho 2, Psycho 3, Psycho 4. It has, I believe, the German edition of Psycho. I can't figure out the difference with that edition. It has Psycho, the 1998, the Gus Van Sant remake film, which was a shot-for-shot remake of the movie. It has the Psycho Legacy, the documentary on the Psycho. It has Bates Motel, which was like, I think it was supposed to be like a pilot, which stars, Bud Cort. It was a TV film with Bud Cort and Lori Petty. I think that was actually when they built the Psycho house I believe, on the Universal backlot, that when they rebuilt it and they rebuilt the you know, the hotel and everything, the motel. It also has 7852, which was the documentary kind of all about the shower scene and like all the shots and the cuts and everything on that. But I'll show you guys a look inside here at this set. This is a really, really cool set. I'm gonna, you know, show you a closer look as well at the posters in here. But you open this up, it has in here a hotel registry, which is like the book that like you had to sign in to go to the motel, and it has in here pictures and stuff like this. This is all in German in here though, just so you know, but it has pictures and stuff like that from the films, and it talks all about, you know, the first film all through all the sequels and everything. It has like a lot of really great photos. When it comes to like the sequels and everything, I really like the sequels. I feel like, you know, there's something really cool about them, and especially like Anthony Perkins, I feel like got cooler and cooler as these movies went along, and the idea of him coming out of the nut house and then coming back and trying to kind of keep it together and like be normal and actually run the motel and like trying to, you know, do it, and then little by little like having memories of the past and kind of cracking up and stuff. And I don't know, I really like the sequels. I feel like even like the fourth one was kind of done with him calling into this talk show and stuff and kind of telling memories of it. I don't know, I really like that one. But this is a really great book. It talks about the remake, the Gus Van Sant's remake, which was a shot-for-shot remake, which was a fine one, but it was kind of like one of those ones where I never really felt like it needed to, like, since it was like the exact, like everything was done the same, there wasn't really much to like learn or much different with it, because it was just like the exact same thing, all the same edits and everything. But it has in here some you know, postcards in here, a postcard larby card things in here for the films, some really, really great images in here. Like I said, it has these posters as well, these really cool posters, which I'm going to show you in a second. But shot of the, you know, the house in this one, you know, Alfred Hitchcock. This has in here a VIP thing, which is like a kind of like a postcard to go and stay at the hotel. And these are movies too. I remember too, when I think of Psycho, one of the things I always think of too is originally in Universal Florida they had this really cool thing when you went to a Psycho, like it kind of showed how like the scenes, the shower scene and stuff was done. And there's this whole exhibit and stuff that I loved. They got rid of it years and years back, but like one of the first times I ever went to Universal as a kid, I remember that. They even had like a door knocker thing on here that's like a please do not disturb. And then like during your absence, a note, a package, a telegram, you know, like the, you know, what was like came for you if you got a call or something like that. It even has stationery paper, Bates Motel stationery paper in this one. It has the letter that Janet Leigh's character writes in the first film. And now I'm going to show you guys the posters. So now we're going to take a look at some of these posters here. The first one here is a classic Psycho poster for the first film here, with, you know, Alfred Hitchcock here in the bottom, and Janet Leigh, and you know, Anthony Perkins' character, you know, he's doing the, you know, mother face. And then we have here this one, which was, this was a really cool image of Norman Bates in the parlor room when he has like one of his like animals that he stuffed, and it's like one of the birds above his head. It's a really, really cool one. I saw this image one, I can't remember if I saw this one actually in that Psycho exhibit, you know, like I mentioned about it, Universal Studios. And this here, they have it for most of the movies. I think it's for all of them. It has the Psycho 4, the beginning poster here. Because I really like this one. I thought this was an interesting, different take of Norman Bates' character on the phone, kind of calling into this kind of true crime show, talking about the murders and everything and like what drove him to it. Then we have the poster here for Psycho 3. You know, the third Psycho film, and I really love this image, him with the key, with Norman Bates with the key. And then we have the poster here, which is for, let's see what this one was. This was Psycho 2, yeah, for Psycho 2. You know, and they were really, really great music as well in these Psycho films. I don't know, I really like these. I thought the sequels were really, really good sequels. But now we're going to take a look at the actual discs in here. It's two different disc sets here. Now the first one here has Psycho 1, Psycho 2, Psycho 3, and Psycho 4. These also all have a whole bunch of different features on here. You know, interviews, deleted scenes, all kinds of different stuff on these ones. Since it's all in German though, I don't want to say everything incorrect that's on this, but lots and lots of features. But I'll show you guys a look inside this, and I love how this looks. It's all like in red, the way the image is on here. It's like Norman Bates with his hand out, and like the Bates Motel sign. And here's a little look at the discs. You have the first film here, Psycho 1, Psycho 2, Psycho 3, and this one here is Psycho 4. Like I said, I love all these movies. I think these are movies, I watch these ones so many different times. And then inside of here, we're going to look now at the ones that has Psycho Uncut. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure what the difference is with that edition of Psycho. I'm not 100% sure, but it has Psycho Uncut, and it has the Gus Van Sant remake, Bates Motel, and the Bates Motel and Bates Legacy are both on a Blu-ray as well. And then 7852. Like I said, these have lots and lots of different features on these. A little look at these ones, how these come out. And it just has, you know, Psycho, the German cut, Psycho, the remake, the one here that has Bates Motel and Psycho Legacy, and as well as 7852. And look at the images here on the back. Like I said, I love the red images here. It's just really, really cool the way this looks. I love the layout of this set. Just a really, really cool set. If you guys are a fan of the Psycho series, this is definitely just a really, really cool release from Turbine Media. And so cool they sent this over to show you guys. Now, the next ones here, I'll have a link where you guys can order these ones for the best price. But these are from a website called Movie Zing. And this is the Amanda Bynes show here, What I Like About You, the complete 4th season here of the show. This is one of those shows, I did not see this one at all when this was on originally. I don't know how. I totally missed this because I was always a fan of Amanda Bynes, especially, you know, I watched the Amanda show. We're like exactly the same age, so I watched like all the things that she did besides this somehow. Like I said, I don't know how I didn't see this when this was on, but I of course I watched like you know, Big Fat Liar. Big Fat Liar is probably my favorite thing that she was in. That's one of those movies, I watched that movie so many times. It's just a fun, ridiculous film. And this is essentially, though, about her character. And in this season, she's like, you know, kind of gets with her boyfriend, and like they're looking like they're going to get engaged and everything. And that's essentially what it is. And like, it's kind of her and like trying to make a relationship work with this guy, but he's going away. And it's all kind of her dealing with relationship problems and just kind of like all the kind of stuff that she deals with in her life. It's just a really, really fun show, and I'm really glad that they released this. This is the final season of the show here. The next one here is from a company called Lee Mark Studios, and this was from the Warner Archive as well. This one was a Warner Archive title, but this is from Leo Mark Studios. And this is a movie called Alter. This is one of the better found footage movies in a long time. I reviewed this one a while back when I had like a review disc of this one, but this now has an official release on Blu-ray, and I believe there's a DVD of this one as well. And this is essentially, though, about this kid and, you know, who has like social anxiety, and it's kind of like it's just some problems with kind of opening up to the world and everything, and he has this video camera, and he's kind of like that's kind of helping him to talk more and be more social and everything. And it's him and his mother end up going on this trip because she's going on this camping reunion trip with her friends from school and everything, and they end up getting like lost on the way there, and they end up going out in this other area, and they kind of like this weird campground. And it's one of those movies, it's not like one of these ones where it's like creepy stuff the entire time. It's sort of a slow build up to kind of weird things are starting to happen. The kid is starting to kind of notice odd stuff is happening, and it deals a lot with this altar that's out there, this really creepy altar. And it's essentially, too, in the very beginning of this movie, you see something happen to this couple that are out there, and like, you know, they end up getting killed. So you know, then you see this altar too in the very beginning, so you know there's something really creepy going on out there. And it's essentially, though, about them all out there, the mother and the son, and then the friends, and it's kind of like the weird stuff that starts to happen to them. But I really like this one. I thought this was actually one of the better found footage ones, the way this was filmed. And some found footage movies kind of have this, like, you know, they don't seem super authentic. This one had a more authentic kind of feel to this one. But definitely I would recommend you guys check this out. Check out the trailer for this one. The next ones here are from Severin Films. This is a movie called Next of Kin. And this is essentially, though, about this woman whose mother had died, and she, you know, runs this old folks home in this really creepy building. It's a very creepy, like, place that this is all set. And essentially, though, the daughter ends up getting there, and you know, it's like essentially though she gets there and there's this really odd stuff going on there. There's really odd people there. There's like the creepy kind of old people there, and it's like she starts to kind of like the people there too that are working there are not really very nice to her and they're acting really odd. And then she starts kind of seeing really weird things. There's some extremely creepy visuals in this movie. There's this one scene, this guy in this tub, and there's like it's one of these movies that has all these creepy kind of stuff that are happening and creepy things that she's seeing, and it's really actually, and it has really cool music as well. The guy did the music in this, the music in a couple of other like horror movies, I think like Anguish or one of these, I can't remember if it was Anguish or I don't know, 100% sure, but one of the you know, creepy German movies that he did music on. But this has on here, though, a commentary track on here with the director and producer. It has a commentary track on here with Mark Hartley and cast members, Jackie Kern, John Jarrett, who was, you know, in the Wolf Creek films, Robert Ratty, House of Psychotic Woman intro by Morbido TV, extended interviews from Not Quite Hollywood, which was a documentary on Australian films. It has on here Return to Montclair, you know, going back to the location where this was shot. Before the Night is Out, ballroom footage, trailers, alternate German opening, image gallery, Tony Williams short film. So lots and lots of features on here. Picture quality too. This looks great on Blu-ray. The next one here is from Seven Films as well, and it's a movie called Invasion of the Blood Farmers. And this is a really ridiculous movie. This is essentially though about you know, these they're kind of like these weird farmers that are like draining people's blood. But in the beginning of this movie, this guy ends up coming into this bar, and like there's like really odd delivery. A lot of the acting in here is really strange, especially like this kind of nerdy guy, like his delivery and the way he kind of talks. It's sort of like a Crispin Glovery kind of talk, like voice a little bit, like sort of, like kind of like a little bit, but like you know, this guy comes in there and like starts like spitting out blood and dies, and they take a sample of this blood to this doctor, and the blood is like, you know, growing, and it like starts bubbling, and it's like you only have this teeny sample, but it continuously grows, and it's like in this whole beaker and keeps on continuously growing. And these weird blood farmers, because it's blood farmers, these weird ones come to the scene of the crime where the guy died and are trying to figure out what happened to him, and they hear about like the scientist that has this blood, and they try and track him down, and they're kind of coming after him, and like the people that are at the house, and all these weird things are happening. It is a really wacky, ridiculous movie. Really good picture quality as well. They did a good job cleaning up this movie, but it has on here a commentary track on here with the director and the actress on here. It has one of the actresses in the film. It has Nothing You Show Your Mom, Eddie Album's Journey Through Exploitation, Coin Op, and Rock and Roll. It has an interview on here with the cinematographer, interview on here with one, you know, the actor Jack Newbeck, as well as a trailer on this one. The next one here is from Wellgo USA, and this is from the studio that brought you, you know, Train to Busan, which is a really great zombie movie. This is a movie here called Rampant, and this is sort of hard to explain because it's like a really different take on a zombie. It's sort of a zombie vampire-ish kind of movie. And they say on the back it's Game of Thrones meets 28 Days Later. Essentially, though, it's about these creatures that come out at night, and it's all set in like the area, you know, in you know, Korea, with its like you know, the dynasty kind of era where it's like there's warriors and all that kind of stuff, but you know, it's like set with these warriors and everything going on, but like there's these creatures that are out. So I haven't really seen a movie that was like this, where it's like they're coming towards this area where everyone is, and like the one person was kind of exiled, and like he was like you know, in prison for years. He's kind of coming back to where he was, and you know, he gets there and comes to find out about all these creatures and everything that are coming out at night, and he's trying to kind of protect his, you know, area and everything where he lives from these creatures, and figuring out how he's going to get an army together and destroy all of them. Like I said, it's all like this, like, you know, really different kind of take on a zombie kind of vampire-ish kind of film here. It has on here, though, making of, behind the scenes, and trailers on this one. The next one here is from, you know, a company called Scream Team Releasing, and I'll have a link for their website. This is a double feature. It has She Was So Pretty and She Was So Pretty, Be Good for Goodness Sake. And this is essentially, though, about this really creepy serial killer guy who goes around, and it's like, it's got a real throwback to like a 70s horror movie kind of vibe, but he goes around and he's like kind of lurking around and spying on people and finding these women and like looking at them and staring at them, and he's like going and killing some of them. him, and he sees this one woman in a laundromat and starts kind of obsessing with her, and like it's like a group of these friends who are out messing around by the creek and everything, and like he's like lurking up there looking down at them. It's essentially though just about this weird, strange stalker kind of guy who's going around and killing people and kind of like picking his next victims and everything. The second movie kind of has like a Henry Portrait of a serial killer kind of vibe, because it's him and this other guy with him, and it's just like and it's also this great stuff too with like this kind of cop who's like bothering those kids who are by the creek, and he's like, "What are you doing out here? I could arrest you for coming out here. You're trespassing." But it's got really cool like old school synth music and everything. Has on here though a director and actor commentary. It has outtakes, theatrical trailers, still an art gallery, so a bunch of different features on here. But if you guys like, you know, throwback old school kind of like strange serial killer slasher movie kind of vibes, you know, with really cool synth music, check this one out. And the next one here is from Cinedigm. I just want to let you guys know that this one is available. It's a movie here called Sergeant Will Gardner. And this is basically, though, this soldier who came back from the war. And he's kind of having, like, post-traumatic stress disorder from what he experienced and the things that happened to him. And he's trying to kind of, like, figure out how to, you know, deal with that, and then deal with, you know, kind of figuring out what he's going to do and kind of what he's going to do with his life, and try and kind of figure all that stuff out. But he's having a really tough time, and he also has had some stuff with his son where he hasn't seen his son for a long time, and he ends up essentially wanting to go on this, you know, cross-country journey to, you know, go and see his son again. And it's essentially, though, about the people that he comes across along the way and all that kind of stuff. Just a really, really well put together character piece here. It has a whole bunch of different people in here. It has on here, you know, Dermot Mulroney is in here, Robert Patrick, Gary Sinise, so a really, really great cast on this one. The last one here is from a company called GVN releasing. It's a movie called Gosnell, The Trial of America's Biggest Serial Killer. And this is, you know, this stars Dean Cain. You know, and I think of Dean Cain, I always think of, you know, of course, the Superman show that he was on, but the one thing I always think of was when he was on, like, the Ripley's Believe It or Not, I think it was Ripley's Believe It or Not, the show. Does anyone else think of that? Like, I don't know, I always think of that when he hosted that. And essentially, though, this is about the, this is like gloom kind of stuff. It's about this doctor. This is a true story about this doctor who is this abortion doctor, but he wasn't, like his business and stuff wasn't run well, and he was like, he had a lot of like he was doing like late-term abortions were like way too late, and like all this kind of stuff. I don't want to get into the whole thing, but like this woman had died, and it kind of was like not taken to the police correctly, and it's about like Dean Cain's character, who's this cop who kind of discovers this because he finds out too that they were writing prescriptions for these drugs that they shouldn't have there, and then they go in there and kind of uncover what's going on there and some of these really bad practices and everything. It's about him going to trial this doctor for what he did and kind of the whole case and everything that he's going through. It's a really, really like gloom kind of subject and all that kind of stuff that was happening and everything, you know, that he was doing, because like, you know, he just wasn't running this thing correctly at all, and he was just up to some really bad practices and everything. But this has on here, though, behind the scenes featurette, the making of on here, some interviews on here, Song of the Innocents, a song by John Alec from Five for Fighting. But anyway, though, guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks again for watching, subscribing, I'll see you guys later. Bye.